I never thought the most terrifying night of my life would come when I first saw the creature people later called the Mothman. It was November 1966, a freezing night in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The streets were silent, and the gusts of wind felt like icy breaths against my ears. I was in the car with my friend Roger and his fiancée, Linda. We were young, adventurous, and often liked to wander around abandoned places. That night, we were heading toward the old TNT factory north of town. The factory had been deserted for years, but for thrill seekers like us, it was the perfect kind of danger. At first, we laughed and joked, but as we approached the ruins, the air seemed heavier, as if something invisible pressed down on us. The silence wasn't normal. It was suffocating. Roger suddenly slowed the car. "Did you guys see that?" he whispered. I squinted at the broken concrete buildings and rusted steel frames. Something moved in the shadows. At first, I thought it was just a barn owl or a big bird. But then the headlights caught it, full on, and what I saw made my blood run cold. It wasn't a bird. It was a figure nearly 7 feet tall, with enormous wings that seemed wide enough to cover the road. Its head was oddly shaped, narrow, inhuman, and its eyes, God, those eyes. They burned like glowing coals staring right into us. Linda screamed, a piercing cry that filled the car. "Oh my God! That's not a man! That's not human!" Roger slammed the accelerator. The car roared forward, but the creature, lifted into the air and followed. I looked back through the rear window. Its wings flapped with a sound like tearing canvas. It soared effortlessly, keeping pace even as our speedometer climbed past 60, then 70. It didn't struggle. It didn't tire. It just glided, always just behind us, those red eyes locked on our car. And then, suddenly, it vanished. Just like that, it was gone, as though it had dissolved into the night sky. For a moment, the only sounds were the engine and the thunder of our hearts. None of us spoke. We couldn't. We were paralyzed, knowing we had seen something beyond explanation. That night was only the beginning. The very next day, stories spread across Point Pleasant. Other people reported seeing the same winged figure. A couple swore it had perched in the trees near the road, leapt across their car, and disappeared into the night sky. Farmers claimed their livestock went missing, and when the bodies were found, they were ripped apart in ways no ordinary predator could manage. At night, the town's dogs barked wildly for no reason, their howls echoing in the cold air. One night, I was lying awake in my room. The wind outside screamed like a warning, rattling the windows. Suddenly, a shadow slid across the curtains. Slowly, I pulled them aside, just a fraction, and for a second, I saw them. Those same red, glowing eyes staring back at me through the glass. I stumbled backward, my breath frozen in my throat. By the time I dared to look again, there was nothing there, nothing but silence. But my heart pounded so violently, I thought it would burst. Over the next few weeks, the sightings multiplied. Dozens of townsfolk described the same nightmare, a massive, man-shaped figure with wings and burning eyes. Some swore it lingered near the Ohio River. Others said it perched on church steeples, watching silently from above. Every sighting came with an omen: a car accident, a sudden death, a terrible misfortune. Point Pleasant grew restless. People stopped going out at night. Fear crawled through the streets. Even the police couldn't ignore the reports. They were overwhelmed with frantic calls. But no matter how many patrols they sent out, they never caught the thing. And the strangest part, wherever Mothman appeared, disaster soon followed. Some whispered it wasn't just a monster, it was a harbinger of doom. For more than a year, the sightings continued. Fear became part of our lives. And then, on December 15, 1967, the nightmare reached its peak. I was in town when I heard the commotion. Shouts, screams, people running toward the river. "The bridge!" someone yelled. "The silver bridge collapsed!" I ran with the crowd, my chest tightening with dread. When I reached the Ohio River, I froze in horror. The silver bridge, the massive steel span that connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, had crumbled into the icy waters below. Cars, trucks, and people were swallowed by the river's black current. The air was filled with the sounds of screaming, metal groaning, and the hopeless cries for help. 46 lives were lost that evening. Families shattered in an instant, and amid the chaos, witnesses swore they saw it again. Just before the bridge fell, a shadowy figure with enormous wings was seen rising above the bridge, vanishing into the mist as the steel gave way. After that night, the sighting stopped. Just like that, the Mothman was gone. Some say it had come to warn us of the tragedy. Others believe it had caused it. A few think it was not of this world at all, an alien or some creature that slipped through from another dimension. But I know what I saw. I know what chased us that night on the road, what looked into my window, what haunted the skies over Point Pleasant. And whenever I drive down a lonely road and the headlights catch something red glowing in the distance, my heart skips a beat, because I can't shake the feeling it's still out there, waiting. Author's note: this story is based on the real events of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 1966 to 1967, and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. The accounts of witnesses were reimagined here as a first-person horror storytelling narrative, so it feels like a true personal encounter. This story begins in the small, quiet town of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, a town that looked peaceful on the surface. But just outside its borders lay a stretch of road known as Bray Road, hiding a nightmare that would scar generations. I was 17 years old that year. It was around 10:30 at night, and I was driving my old beat-up car down Bray Road. The cold was unbearable. Frost covered the windshield, and fog clung to the fields on both sides. The road was empty, silent, only my headlights cutting through the darkness. Then movement. Something stirred in the bushes to my left. At first I thought it was just a deer. I slowed down, leaned forward, and squinted through the mist. But what stepped out of the brush was not a deer. It stood on two legs. A hulking, wolf-like creature covered in thick fur, its height nearly equal to a man's. Its yellow eyes glowed in the light, and its jaws hung open, revealing teeth that looked far too long to belong to any animal I knew. It tilted its head down, as if studying me, as if hunting me. My hands shook as I slammed the accelerator. The tires screeched against the cold pavement, but the creature moved too. It chased me. I glanced into the rearview mirror and my stomach dropped. It was running, no, charging on two legs, tearing into the ground with claws that sparked against the asphalt. Its speed was impossible, faster than any human, faster than any animal I had ever seen. For one terrifying second, I thought it would leap onto the car. But then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished back into the night. I didn't breathe again until I was miles away. Whispers in the town. The next morning I told my friends. They laughed, called me crazy. But only a few days later, a local newspaper printed a chilling report. A woman swore she had seen a wolf-like creature on Bray Road. Then came more stories. A farmer claimed his livestock had been found ripped apart, shredded as if by something with immense strength. A family insisted that while driving one night, a hair-covered beast leapt onto their car roof, leaving deep claw marks before vanishing. Truck drivers spoke of seeing a tall, wolf-headed figure standing in the middle of the road. And just when they braced for impact, the figure would dart into the woods, swallowed by darkness. The accounts varied in detail, but one thing remained the same. This was no ordinary animal. It had the body of a beast, but the presence of a man. I tried to convince myself I'd never see it again, that it was just one horrifying night, never to be repeated. But fate had other plans. It was late October, just before Halloween, the kind of night when the air stings your skin and the moon hangs low like a blade. I was driving down Bray Road again, picking up a friend. The clock had just struck midnight when my car suddenly jolted. The tire rolled off the edge, forcing me to stop. Cursing under my breath, I grabbed a flashlight and stepped out. The silence was deafening. No crickets, no owls, nothing. Then I heard it, a rustling in the bushes. At first I thought it was a fox, but then I saw them, two burning red eyes glowing from the darkness. And then it stepped forward. The beast, the same one. Steam rose from its heavy breath, curling in the freezing air. Its teeth glistened with saliva, and I swear I could smell its stench. Wet fur and rotten meat. I froze, my legs felt like stone. Then with every ounce of willpower I had, I flung open the car door and dove inside. The second the engine roared, the creature lunged. Its claws raked across the back of my car with a screeching sound, leaving deep, unmistakable gouges in the metal. I drove like hell, heart pounding, until the road disappeared behind me. When I reached home, I inspected the car. The scratches were real, huge claw marks gouged into the trunk. Proof that what I saw was no nightmare. It was real. Over the years, Bray Road became infamous. Witnesses called the creature the Dogman, or more chillingly, the Beast of Bray Road. Paranormal researchers arrived, setting up cameras and recording equipment. Some found oversized paw prints pressed deep into the soil. Others claimed to hear strange howls echoing in the night, but no one ever captured it fully. Still, the witnesses' eyes told the truth. Eyes filled with the same raw fear I had once felt. The shadow that never leaves. Even now, decades later, people still report sightings. Cars pull over to find their hoods clawed open. Drivers glimpse a massive fur-covered shape racing alongside them, faster than any animal should be able to move. Campers swear they hear growls circling their tents. Bray Road remains more than just a road. It is a place haunted by something ancient, something that doesn't belong in our world, but refuses to leave. As for me, I never returned. But some nights when I close my eyes, I still see them. Those two burning eyes staring through the dark. Waiting, and I wonder, was it hunting me then? Or is it still out there, waiting for the right night to find me again? Because once you've seen the Beast of Bray Road, you never escape it. Note, this story is based on real eyewitness reports of the Beast of Bray Road in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. While told here in a first-person horror storytelling style, the accounts remain some of the most chilling cryptid encounters ever recorded. It all began on a single night, a night that would forever haunt the small town of Flatwoods, West Virginia. It was the evening of September 12th, 1952. I was out playing with two friends when we saw something streak across the sky. At first, we thought it was just a shooting star, but it wasn't. It was a blazing fireball, glowing red and orange as it cut across the heavens. Then, with a deep, rumbling crash, it plummeted to earth beyond the hills. The ground trembled beneath our feet. We looked at each other, wide-eyed, our hearts pounding with curiosity and fear. Whatever it was, it had landed close, and we had to see it. We weren't the only ones. As we hurried toward the crash site, a few neighbors joined us, their flashlights cutting through the dusk. Everyone whispered nervously, the same question on their lips. What? Fell out of the sky? When we reached the edge of the woods, the air was thick with a metallic burning stench, like hot iron and sulfur. The grass was scorched black. My stomach turned just breathing it in. Then, a sound, a heavy mechanical hum, low and unnatural. Something was moving in the trees, and then it stepped into view. At first I thought my eyes were playing tricks, but no, there it was, a towering figure, at least 10 feet tall. Its head was shaped like a spade, glowing with a faint green hue. Its eyes, two burning red orbs, stared down at us, pulsing with a fiery light. Its body shimmered as if armored, glowing faintly with a greenish metallic sheen. Its arms hung unnaturally long, ending in razor-sharp claws. And worst of all, it wasn't walking, it was floating, drifting toward us with a hiss like steam escaping from a broken machine. Beside me, a girl gasped, her voice trembling. "That's not human." The thing moved closer. Its glowing eyes swept over us like beams, scanning, piercing. My legs felt like lead, frozen in place. Then came the sound, an ear-splitting, metallic screech. It wasn't the cry of an animal. It wasn't the scream of a man. It was like steel tearing against steel. Inhuman, unbearable. The noise jolted us into panic. We ran. Branches whipped against our faces as we bolted back down the hill, screaming. Behind us, the monster's hiss echoed through the woods, mingling with that burning stench that clung to our throats. When we burst back into the village, we could barely speak. Our faces were pale, our eyes wide, and yet, we weren't the only ones. Others claimed they had seen the fireball too. Some whispered that it wasn't a meteor at all, but a crashed spacecraft, that the creature we saw was its pilot. The very next day, the military arrived. They sealed off the site, combed through the woods. Hours later, they declared they found nothing. But we knew the truth. Something had been there, something they didn't want us to see. My endless nightmare years have passed since that night, but it never left me. Even now, I wake up in a cold sweat, dreaming of that spade-shaped head, those blazing eyes, that burning metallic smell filling my lungs. Sometimes when I'm outside late at night, I catch myself scanning the skies, afraid of what might fall from them again. And I wonder, if it really was from another world, did it ever leave? Or is it still here, hidden in the shadows, waiting? The people of Flatwoods still whisper about that night. Some say it was mass hysteria. Some say it was just imagination. But I know what I saw, and it was real. Note: this story is based on the real Flatwoods Monster incident of 1952 in Braxton County, West Virginia, told here in first-person horror storytelling style, so it feels like a true, personal experience.